Welcome into One Giant Step, a live version edition. I'm Shaun Morash, joined as always by my co-host and producer, Bryce Gelman. The Giants fall to the Kansas City Chiefs 22-9 in the least shocking outcome we will probably see all season. And away we go. We're live on the WFAN YouTube too. This isn't just in podcast form wherever you're digesting this. Is that right, Bryce?
Yes, we are.
Fun.
Yes, we are.
Oh, joy. So
first ever.
Welcome into all of our live audience. That's awesome. Glad you just sat through that crap sandwich that we've had for a couple hours there. And what a football Sunday it was. And if you're listening in podcast form, thank you as always. Download and subscribe to One Giant Step everywhere podcasts are available, and of course free on the Odyssey app. So, Bryce, last week when we recapped that loss to the Cowboys immediately following, I was basically inconsolable. I was emotional. I felt it deep in my gut. I don't have that same feeling tonight. Don't get me wrong. I'm angry. I'm annoyed. But I think I had kind of a 3-hour long goodbye with basically the way this game started. And I just accepted what was going to happen as opposed to that Cowboy roller coaster, which made my guttural instinct and my guttural feeling. So before we get to maybe how you felt or everything that unfolded in this game, I'll just start with what I mean by that.
Yeah.
The very moment the Giants have that first drive of this game, and damned if I am, damned if I'm not, damned if you do, whatever the stupid saying is. I'm sure I'm getting that wrong a million times.
Probably, yeah.
I'm trying to be better about not being like locked into my phone between plays on Twitter. What are people saying? Like I want to live in the moment, live in these games. And I did not see that right before the game, the Graham Gano news. I found out like it was 1993 on TV on NBC when they told me that. And the moment I heard that, I openly laughed. I was sitting next to my dad here, my sister here, my neighbor Dave, and I laughed out loud because it's only the Giants can find themselves in this position. It was the Jets 2 years ago when they lost that game. It was Washington last year. All the same kicker here. Graham Gano continued to get older. And we were a podcast here, Bryce, where we talked about in the offseason, and I think it was one of my things I was looking out for in training camp, which was, can we solidify this kicker situation? Because it's a little freaking stupid to just be relying on Graham Gano when we've been burned by this. And here you are in week 3. And again, he pulls a groin. So I laughed out loud about it. And I said, it's just unacceptable that this general manager and coach in whatever collaboration did not address this in the offseason, no matter how much we love Graham Gano. The guaranteed money Graham Gano has, everyone's talking about salary cap problems, is insane. He gets hurt already in week 3, and you find yourself in the same spot. No NFL team ever finds themselves without a kicker before a game. And yet the Giants in consecutive years do. And you just knew, Bryce. You knew. I knew. I don't even have to tell you that you knew, and the audience knew, that game was over right then and there. And yes, they ended up losing by multiple scores, but let me explain something to you. They were going to have an uphill battle because Steve Spagnuolo is a great defensive coordinator, Andy Reid's a great head coach, and Patrick Mahomes on the other side. The moment you send the message to a defensive coordinator like Steve Spagnuolo that this team is going to be incapable of kicking field goals, everything about the game plan changes. First of all, your offensive game plan has to change, although that was wonky and all over the place. But from a defensive standpoint, if you're Kansas City, you're chuckling and going, okay, I know that you have to go after these first downs and attack first downs differently, second downs differently. You cannot be playing for 50-yard field goals, 40-yard field. Like, none of that was going to exist. It killed them. It killed them. And you knew at 9-6 at the half, they were dead. They were dead no matter what happened in this game. And the only way out of that death would have been unbelievable quarterback play, which, spoiler alert, they were never getting from Russell Wilson. So we'll dive into why they didn't get it and what went wrong. But Bryce, your reaction to that?
First off, thank you to everyone for tuning in to our first ever One Giant Step live stream. Of course, we wish it were better circumstances here. But Shaun, I echo the sentiments of you. Dejected, lifeless. Like I don't feel like how I felt after the Cowboys game. After that Cowboys game, that was like hatred. That was like anger. That was like, I felt that deep inside of me. By halftime, I was resigned to the fact that this game was probably over. But there were so many things and so many times in that game where the Giants could have came back. They could have won it. The fact that it was 9-6 at halftime. First off, it should have been 10-6 Giants at halftime instead of 6-9 Giants or 6-9 Chiefs. But I look at all the ineptitude on offense, and I look at the terrible play calling again from Shane Bowen on defense. I want to get to that in a little. I'm not going to sit here and focus in on that. There were a bunch of other things I'd like to get to first. But Shaun, they were gifted this game on a silver platter. How many penalties did the Chiefs make on that in that first half, on those first couple of drives? They could not get out of their own way. This is not the defending champions, 3 Super Bowls the last 5 years, whatever the hell it is. This team looked as undisciplined as the Giants did their first drive last week against the Cowboys. And in that fashion, on Sunday Night Football, the Giants lay an absolute egg. And who's to say that either of us are surprised? Like, we both, I don't think either of us predicted it in this sense. Like, we thought it'd be closer, and this kind of was a Chiefs blowout. I guess, like, considering the fact that the Chiefs can't score, like, the fact they won this game by 13, that would be considered a blowout. No.
Well, no, it's a blowout for a couple reasons. Again, the Chiefs could toy with the Giants all night without the kicking game. Like, that was a big part of it. But number two, Russell Wilson's performance tonight is so beyond unacceptable for a veteran like that who we all wanted to laud a week ago. Let's get into that right now, because that leads to a blowout. I believe I said this on the Evan and Tiki show, and I think we said it here. But the idea that because Russell Wilson threw for 450 yards versus the Dallas Cowboys and had all that silenced the Jackson Dart stuff for weeks was so insane to me. No, it doesn't silence it for weeks.
We talked about that too. We did. I remember saying that. I think it at least bought Russell Wilson.
You did, right. And I said, what are you talking about? If they have a performance like they had in week 1 offensively, then we're right back where we are.
The hypothetical was this type of game, and I didn't think this type of game was possible. Well, it happened.
But it's
you're right.
This type of game. Because in week 1, they struggled to score and find ways to move the ball, and they couldn't run the ball. That was the other part. Remember, they went swab with the run. Cam Scadaboo was pretty freaking good tonight. Cam Scadaboo was really good.
He was amazing.
So this is worse than week 1 to me in terms of the offense, because you were able to establish a ground identity. You were able to run the football. And what you didn't do in week 1, which actually kept the Giants semi in that game where they had no business being in it in week 1, was the idea that Russell Wilson didn't turn the ball over. What was Russell Wilson doing with some of these throws tonight?
I don't know. Especially that one to Wan'Dale that resulted in the pick. Triple coverage.
Okay, so the first pick is atrocious.
Make it up, dude.
The pick at the end of the first half, as you basically get, first of all, Bobby Okereke, hold on to the ball. You can't have Patrick Mahomes strip you.
That's a game changer. He grabs that ball. They score the touchdown. That's a 10-point swing. It's a 10-point swing.
And I'm going to defend Bobby O for a second, because the people who were at my house watching the game with me, I know my next door neighbor Dave was saying, he's like, you just got to fall on the ball. You got to fall on the ball. Usually I'm like that. But again, Bobby Okereke knows this is a team that has to score touchdowns tonight because they're incapable of kicking field goals. It's in everybody's head. So he's going for the scoop and score, but you also can't have the quarterback right. But nonetheless,
any NFL player is looking to put that in the end zone. Like, that has nothing to do with the game.
You got to hold on the ball.
He's trying to score that anyway. So, but I understand what you're saying.
Let me focus my ire back on Russell Wilson here. What the? I'm not going to say the F word. Are you thinking throwing that ball into the corner? Where were you going with the football?
Oh, the one to Neighbors?
I forget. Honestly, I haven't looked. Obviously, this was all in real time. Was it to Neighbors at the end of the first? It was before, obviously, what happens then with Kansas City offensively after that, which I'll get to in a second. That's terrible. But then in the second half, man, like, you could see the Chiefs came out of halftime, and this is where coaching really bothers me. The Chiefs come out of halftime and they have the ball, and they came out with a decisive plan on calming things down against that giant pass rush, which I actually thought, despite one sack showing up, they played well tonight. I thought Burns, Tibbs, and for the most part, Carter, I mean, they were a factor. They rushed a lot of things. I mean, this could have been so much worse if not for them. They were like the 3 guys that showed up. But the Chiefs come out of halftime with a plan. They go right down the field. Russell Wilson is a vet. You just sat there, you're going over everything, whatever you're going to go over at halftime about what the Chiefs did. And it was like he had no plan to this second half at all. And then late in that game, when the Giants are in theory trying to survive 6 minutes or less, which, make no mistake, when Kareem Hunt ran that ball in at the 1, the Giants let him score. There's already videos circling
saw
on the internet.
I didn't see that.
Our boy Bobby Skinner, he put, and I don't think he realized in real time, what's Drew Phillips doing? And people are like, what is Adebo doing? What they're doing is there's 6 or something minutes and change left, and they're facing a really good coach who basically could teeter this out for a couple times and waste a whole nother minute. That is the Giants letting them score. So I think that's kind of an unfair video that's going on. They're letting them score to get the ball back with 6 minutes and change. The problem is they get the ball back and there's no urgency. There's random runs to Devin Singletary.
That was infuriating.
And then you get an amazing catch on a 4th down by Wan'Dale Robinson that comes out of nowhere, and he pops up, and look, he's a gamer. I give Wan'Dale that. Like, he was trying to win the game. And then Russell Wilson just takes this idiotic intentional grounding. And then by the end of it is throwing a ball that quite literally hit the goalpost.
Not one catchable ball.
One catchable ball. You live with another interception in there if it's at least in traffic and you're trying to throw a ball.
Try.
That was as bad a quarterbacking as I have seen. It was terrible. I thought Russell Wilson sucked so bad in this game. That was worse than week 1. I'm sorry. Russell Wilson left them hopeless at times tonight. And the offensive line wasn't all that bad. Think about it. They actually got sound run game, and he was morbid in this game. Now, who was even worse? This head coach, who I have waved the pom-poms for. I have been light on while everybody else has killed him for years, and I get it. I have been patient because of the head coach that took this team to the playoffs in 2022, which kind of sabotaged the direction of the organization. I have been patient because I wanted him to be able to draft a quarterback, the whole reason he was hired, and do this. I am losing my patience beyond belief after these first 3 games. And tonight was a telestrated performance on how to not win a football game as a head coach. First of all, it goes hand in hand with Shane. Again, I'm going to keep going back to, how does Graham going to remain on this team? Okay, fine, whatever. But then he coaches the game as if he doesn't have the kicker injury going on. When Cam Scannaboo scores that touchdown, why are you not trying a 2-point conversion? You at least run the ball well. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So he attempts this Jamie Gillen kick where Gunnar Olszewski has to go out there hold. Gillen's also a lefty. Everything is thrown off.
It was blocked twice. It was blocked. It hit the helmet and then hit someone else. It was blocked twice.
I don't understand why he did that. So several moments throughout. I mean, I could nitpick certain plays and the Chiefs also have that one drive where they let the Giants in this with penalties. But then you get to the play, and I don't have it in front of me, to be honest, because again, we are live. If you're listening to this podcast in delay, we're live doing this immediately after the game. I want to say there was about 4 minutes left in the third quarter, and they faced a 4th and 4 around midfield.
Yep, where they punted it. Yeah.
And they're down 10, right? I think it's 16-6. I distinctly remember looking up and going, and they punt.
They punted it, yeah.
Dude, Patrick Mahomes has just carved you up on that drive earlier. You're 0-2. You're 0-2. And you're down double digits to the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, and you're at midfield. You have to go for that there. If you punt, it tells me that with that 10 points, you think you're going to get field goal touchdown. Now, as it turns out, they end up getting a chip shot field goal, but that's not the essence of playing down 10. The essence of playing down 10 is a drive like you had the Gano field goal where you end up in the end zone and late in the game, you're hoping to boom like a Brandon Aubrey like kick. I mean, that is what you're doing. You're also assuming that Patrick Mahomes is not going to score again, which is stupid. I don't understand the points and the opportunities being left on the board by Brian Daboll in this game. It was a clinic. He was so badly outcoached in this game, and we're lucky it didn't come back to bite him. Really, truly come back to bite him. The idea where the Chiefs line up for that, it's 4th and 1. We're gonna probably pump. We're gonna try to draw you off sides, and when the Giants have to burn a damn timeout in that second half on that too, again, just bad, unprepared coaching. I can't wave the Daboll pom-poms anymore. That was rough, Bryce, tonight. That was a disgrace to so many Giant fans tonight.
Where was Malik Neighbors in this game? He had 1 target in the first half. I believe, one target until midway through the third quarter, maybe even by the fourth quarter.
Well, the first target was technically the pick. Now, here's the thing. I blame this more on Russell Wilson.
Spagnuolo, like he obviously schemed the Chiefs defense around stopping Malik Neighbors.
And this is why I blame on Russell Wilson.
What? You know?
No. Can I say it on YouTube?
Yes. Yeah.
No shit, Sherlock. That Spags knew the Giants were going to try to go to Neighbors. The Giants didn't prep for this all week. Russell Wilson didn't think of this all week. He's seen Steve Spagnuolo's defense before. You knew that Malik Neighbors was going to be the number one target for the Giants. So a great job by Spags diagramming this up. But it is on the Giants in a well-coached spot / well-positioned spot at quarterback to chess match that back. All right, he's triple teamed. How could we draw up certain plays? I think Collinsworth mentioned a reverse, something. How do we get the ball in Malik Neighbors' hands to do that?
Get it in his hands, yeah.
But even if you can't get the ball in his hands, does Darius Slayton play football for this team anymore? And until that end catch, where was Wan'Dale Robinson?
3 years, $36 million.
If they're triple teaming and shadowing Malik Neighbors, not everybody's just being covered. So how do you not figure out a way to get
Theo
that
Johnson, non-existent in this game?
What is
even
Russell
Chris Manhurt's got something there.
What is Russell Wilson looking at with his other wide receivers?
Yeah.
Look, they need an upgrade at wide receiver too. And I think we all knew that. And you know what?
Wan'Dale through the first 2 weeks kind of proved his worth there. I'm talking about the outside guys. I'm not talking about Wan'Dale.
Okay. I know that they got Slayton back on a good enough
wide receiver, but
this has been a
$12 billion a year.
Garbage 3 weeks for Darius Slayton. Garbage. And whoever's fault that is, I know he had the groin. He looked like he was running in mud in front of me when I was in Washington. He had a couple plays today. He's so worried in the middle of the week about screaming about what wide receiver, arguing with the entertainer on Twitter. This has been a trash. All of a sudden, Darius Slayton in year 7 gets paid and suddenly just falls off a cliff. Awful.
Wait, sorry. I don't want to cut you off. Can we talk about Andrew Thomas and how he looked in this game? Because up until the moment he was taken out, he looked like a brick wall. He looked like he hadn't missed a beat. He absolutely clamped Chris Jones on multiple different reps. I mean, no matter what you want to say about him coming out early and not playing in that last drive in the last 2 minutes of the first half, Andrew Thomas is back. And that's the Giants' second best player on this team, next to Dexter Lawrence. You can make the argument for Brian Burns and whatever. I understand.
Make the argument.
Andrew Thomas is the second best player on this football team.
So what do you?
He's amazing. Dude, they put him with the 2 minutes left. Why doesn't he just finish the half? Why not just let him finish the half? They needed that drive. It was a crucial drive. The first snap that Andrew Thomas is off the field, Marcus Bowe gets pushed back 5-10 feet by Chris Jones to no one's surprise. He bumps into Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson throws what should have been a pick. There was no one in the area. And Shaun, that's how the drive gets started because Andrew Thomas is off the field. So I just don't know what you were thinking there. Let him play the first half. He's already in at that point. Why pull him with 2 minutes left? It makes zero sense to me. Zero.
Okay. Now I haven't seen any of the stuff from Dable postgame. I'm trying to search this
I was just looking that up right now.
To see an answer. No, I don't see an answer yet, but I would say this.
You talk. I'll do that.
No problem. So as far as Andrew Thomas goes, we were basically told by every account that there would be some kind of rotation going on to kind of ease Thomas back. And I think a lot of us interpreted that for like drive for drive. And it kind of feels like the opposite was, and I really don't have an issue with this unless we find out there was something else going on. Play Andrew Thomas until the gas runs out of the tank. That felt like instead of going, hey, let's play a drive here, drive there, the gas may have never ran out of the tank. Andrew Thomas is going to be the one that knows how his body's responding. This is his first time playing football, didn't play the preseason, in over a year here. I didn't have an issue with it if that's what it was. If he truly was gas out of the tank time, hey, they let this go for almost an entire half. He was a brick wall. That was a good sign. All right, let's bring in Marcus Bowe here and go. Because I think that's a better way of doing it than just starting Marcus Bowe and saying, well, we'll wait another week on Andrew Thomas. That's the way he got his reps. So by not having preseason, it was just a funky way they had to handle it. I'm, again, card subject to change. That's the way I'm interpreting what they did. And if they went that route, and that's on Thomas saying he's out of gas, then fine. But if it was a matter of, you know what, we had a certain number of snaps that we wanted Thomas to play and he hit that quota, then I'm with you. You're about to go rest for the half anyway and finish the half.
Was what it was, but they cut him on the sideline. He's like having a grand old time.
Well,
he's like shooting the you-know-what with his teammates. Like, he looks like he's perfectly fine. Get back into the game. Get back into the game. Finish the half.
It's hard to judge a guy by a counter shot.
It's kind of tongue-in-cheek, but either way, it's still finish the half.
Again, of all my issues with the Giants today, the way they handle Andrew Thomas, I'm likely to be okay with. Again, card subject to change with the postgame. Now let's get to the elephant in the room. Insert joke about me here, and that is the Jackson Dart stuff. Okay. Jackson Dart comes in. Was it the fourth quarter by the time he came in?
Scattered runs in the third.
Interesting wrinkle. 2 straight downs they keep him in for, which was interesting. He has that little run. I thought actually showed maturity on one play because you could tell the play was for Jackson Dart to pass. Okay. Yeah. They've been installing this run stuff. Nothing's there. Pass rush coming. And Jackson Dart did what a good quarterback would do, which is let me take what I can with my legs right now, as opposed to force something. So I appreciated that. What I did not appreciate was then calling a play where Russell Wilson is going to run to the outside.
Dude, that was inexcusable.
Immediately after, when he's slow as molasses,
so
if that's the play call. Now, maybe you're trying to get cute and trick Kansas City into, well, they're definitely not going to run now. Russ is back in. I guess that was the Bugs Bunny approach Mike Kafka drew up there. But to run those 2 plays with Dart and then that be your play with Wilson was like, why did you take Dart off the field? And the crowd could be heard on TV chanting, we want Dart. We want Dart. I thought that was fascinating. Let's be real. Russell Wilson has had 2 atrocious games from a statistical standpoint and 1 awesome game from a statistical standpoint. If we're being so objective here through 3 weeks of the NFL and watch the NFL as a whole, and I sat there like a fat ass and watched everything today, including the baseball, the Cowboys, when Dak and CD are going, are really dangerous offensively. Outside of that, their defense might be one of the worst defenses we've seen in the NFL in a long time. And the Giants took advantage of that offensively, which makes last week's defensive performance just sting you because they could have won the game. But the theme here through the Giants offense through the first 3 weeks is they are not very good with Russell Wilson. That he leaves so much out there to be chewed on. And the fact that he was really good in week 2, Caleb Williams, who basically left his nail technician after painting him this morning and thought, am I going to actually win a football game today? Went out there and beat the Dallas Cowboys defense too, like a drum. The Cowboys stink. That is why the Giants played well in week 2. Okay. Looking at Jackson Dart and looking at Brian Dable, who seems sadder this week in press conferences. And this I want Brian Dable to succeed. Obviously, I feel bad that this has gone this way. What are we waiting for? You're telling us Jackson Dart is at least somewhat ready by making him the number 2 quarterback. You're telling us even more he's at least somewhat ready by bringing him on the field for certain plays. You're now 0-3. And for all the talk about how great the Chargers defense is, and I'm sure it's great, I saw it get exposed at times today. The Broncos left plenty of meat on the bone for their plays as well down the field. Bo Nix was not good again. You think Russell Wilson is really going to carve up this Charger defense? Or do you think the energy of Jackson Dart gives it? If you're worried about playing Jackson Dart because you're worried about the Charger defense going to do to him, you're not worried about what they're going to do to Russell Wilson.
I'm worried about him not being ready.
I'm officially there, dude.
No, I think he should play, but I'm also concerned for the fact that they're going to force feed him, and it's not force feeding us. We want it, but I'm concerned about the fact that they're coaching for their jobs. That's the one concern. I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying I don't want that, but I'm saying there's a chance he's not ready, and they're putting him in there because they're screwed. They're done.
Remember,
they've got 1 foot out the door.
I entered August, both live on Evan and Teagan with you doing these One Giant Steps, thinking I don't want to see Jackson Dart till
week
November,
10.
December, like stuff like that,
11,
right?
Yeah, after the bye.
I'm simply following the breadcrumbs of he had a much better August than everybody thought, and now he's not the number 2 Jameis's, and they are putting him on the field. They are before their jobs have been on the line in these games with little plays here or there. You are telling us Jackson Dart is fully capable of taking snaps on an NFL field, because if he's not, he shouldn't be out there. Now you're 0-3. And I also think this is not just a product of, hey, I want Jackson Dart to play, team bad, rookie quarterback good, let's see what he has. Russell Wilson has given you nothing through 2 games.
Yeah.
So why would I think versus a good defense versus the Chargers, he's going to give me anything here? The guy hit the goalpost late in the game, couldn't even make it a catchable ball. I'm so Dude,
what? Like at that point, why send him out for the second half?
I don't even
like
understand.
That was the question. That made no sense to me. Like, already go with Dart if you're comfortable putting him in for a few plays and you're comfortable making him the backup quarterback. You have to be comfortable putting him in that situation. Break glass in case of emergency. He's got to play in a situation like that. Everyone was clamoring for him. Like you heard the crowd. It was very obvious when he was coming in, when he was going out of the game. Like there's no hope. There's nothing to hope for. Put him in the game. There was no juice whatsoever for Russell Wilson. You put Dart in the game.
I think they're trying to be, as a regime, respectful to a veteran that gave it its all offseason in Russell Wilson. And you don't want to embarrass him mid-game. But that's why this has got to be a clean slate. I'm there in week 4. I've seen enough through Russell Wilson through 3 weeks.
He's got to play.
I've seen enough from Jackson Dart that, well, I mean, what are we going to do here? You just want to go 0-4 Russell Wilson and then set up the Saint game? I would here's another hot take now. As bad as the Saints are, a rookie quarterback probably still struggles in his first start. I mean, odds would tell you probably. Why do I want him struggling in a winnable game versus the Saints? Or get those first jitter struggles? If you're going to go down with Russ versus the Chargers, go down with Dart versus the Chargers, shake some stuff out, let him look at a week of tape, and then maybe actually beat the freaking Saints and get a win under your belt for him. So
yeah. I mean, that's the one winnable game on the Giants schedule right now. You go down the entire list, it's the Saints game. What else?
That's where I'm at.
Second Cowboys game? Yeah, they can win that game.
The Bears stink. The Bears beat them. The Raiders are terrible. That's what's funny about this is if you had hopes of a playoff year, then by all means, you have every reason to scream and yell and tell me the season's shot. I didn't, so that's why I know I'm going to be engaged week to week with the Dart stuff, but the team could still win 5-6 games with Jackson Dart here, and then you walk away going, you know what? All right, we're building something towards next year, which is kind of what was my plan for the year anyway. But it just, I mean, today was just a comedy of errors, and it all started with the kicker. It just, again,
dude, you can't make that shit up. You cannot make that up.
Why did you need Thomas Fedoni drafted in the 7th round? You couldn't take a kicker? You knew this Graham Gano situation. And what are they going to do this week? Is Young Wei Koo coming in here? Is that what's going to happen? I don't know, man. I don't know. So before we wrap and I actually go to bed and I get my kids on the freaking bus, do we have any YouTube comments you wanted to get to at all or anything?
These are coming in hot and heavy right now.
Give me anything. What do you got?
All right. We got okay. Someone says Bears will beat the. Hold on. Let me get rid of the overlay. So, JC says Bears will beat the Giants.
I mean, we'll see. I have no ground to stand on other than to tell you I think the Bears stink too. Okay.
And we're getting a lot of comments about Daniel Jones. LOL, you Jones haters still can't accept reality. It's hilarious. Daniel Jones is your daddy. Just accept it. He made you look foolish.
All right, you want to do Daniel Jones here for a second?
Why are you talking about Daniel Jones?
Because you're going to have these people now because Daniel Jones is playing well that aren't like Giant fans and doing all this. People got to pick a lane on Daniel Jones here.
I know where you're going with this, and I agree 100%. Yeah.
Pick a lane on Daniel Jones here. Because I know I defended Daniel Jones for a long time. And I hate to break and remind everybody, they did make the playoffs and win a playoff game with Daniel Jones, okay? Daniel Jones has played good football for the Giants before. He's played bad football. Part of the reason that Daniel Jones stuck around with the Giants as long as he did is because of what you're seeing with the Colts right now, which is you could see the flashes of good play. So if you are somebody on the outside, looking in and looking at the Giants and laughing about Daniel Jones, everybody who wasn't a Giant fan laughed him, including Colt fans, and mocked them for thinking.
And you see this Colts fan right here.
Yeah. Okay, great.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Okay.
He says he's the best quarterback since Peyton. That's better than Andrew.
Okay. By the way, not hard to do. Who are you going to pick? Gardner Minshew, dude? I'm not doing a Colts podcast. I'm not doing one horseshoe up my butt here, okay? We're not doing that right now. All I'm saying is the Daniel Jones stuff. So now Daniel Jones is good. So then I guess Joe Shane was the genius for giving him the 4-year deal that was very markedly underpriced, huh?
Yes. Yeah,
I'm just saying, it's so stupid.
Only reason why DJ is doing better in Indy is because he's a good offensive line, great weapon.
Sure. And he needed a mental reset. Let's be honest. He needed a mental reset. He needed a mental reset. And the Giants called plenty of good plays for him, and he was afraid to pull the trigger last 2 years because he got mentally shot. Good for Daniel Jones. Also, let's see Daniel Jones go thrive for the next 10 years as the quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts, winning multiple playoff games before we plant the flag and say this was another giant mistake. Remember,
Shaun,
what?
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I know where I stand on this. Are you rooting for Daniel Jones to do well on the Colts? I am.
So
I feel good for the guy right now.
I was until I saw social media after today, and I'm like, oh, we're doing because people are just hypocrites, dude. Again, I want to remind you where we were.
Whatever they want to say. People are
Joe Shane was stupid. Joe Shane was stupid for paying him. Now Joe Shane's an idiot for letting him walk. Like people can non-Giant fans, Giants are stupid. They're going to keep playing that loser Jones. Now those same non-Giant fans, we told you Jones was good. People are so hypocritical when it comes to Daniel Jones. It's not even funny. But again, I'm not staying up later tonight to talk about Daniel Jones. I'm over it. Russell Wilson stinks. Daniel Jones stinks. Play Jackson Dart now. And Brian Dable, you better do it too. Because I'm at my wit's end.
I just can't.
I reach a point with this team every year where the next guy that I have defended till the bitter end, it was Jones for a long time. It's now Brian Dable. I'm at my breaking point. I'm so tired of just sitting back and watching games and just laughing because it's ridiculous.
September 22nd.
Yeah. Oh, and one more thing.
Season's over.
One more thing. Benching Drew Phillips tonight, the guy was your best player in your secondary.
Disagree. I knew you were going to bring this up. He was really good at the first half, second half, unmitigated disaster. That
pass interference at the end of the first half is a flop. It's not even pass interference.
It doesn't matter. You don't touch the guy. If you let him catch it and bring him down, the clock runs out. They don't score any points. You could make a pass interference. You let them score, and you screw the team. They're going to lose that game anyway. But
it's easier said than done. The receiver runs into him. If he just backs away, doesn't let him hit him, then he waltzes into the end zone. Then he waltzes into the end zone.
It's 50-50. It's 50-50. They called it is what it is. There was contact.
Absurd. Banks makes one play. He's dancing up and down. Drew Phillips is the best player in the secondary. We're bench. Oh, what a message to be sent. How about bench Russell Wilson, who has sucked for 2 or 3 games? All right. You know what? That's it. I'm going to go do what I got to do.
Let me just thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
Oh, yeah.
Dropping comments. That was cool. If you want to hear more of this, you can check out our podcast, One Giant Step, wherever you get your podcast, on the WFAN YouTube. We do preview podcasts and, of course, the occasional reaction podcast. Not always live, but
and we'll be back.
Check out, listen, there's stuff to be excited about. Jackson, that's it.
And we'll be back to preview next week's game versus the Chargers. And this season, we're just going to ride it out here with Jackson Dart Mania. I'll be on the Evan and Tiki show back 2 o'clock tomorrow. Plenty to get into. I'm sorry. I was doing a Mets impersonation. That being said, enjoy your back to school Monday. Thanks for taking one giant step with us.